He, the father, the tyrant father, wants to control the poor boy. Polonius's betrayals are almost as vile as Claudius's. He doesn't kill anyone, but they're vile betrayals of his son and his daughter. He's giving all of that really great advice to Laertes, but he's a total hypocrite, of course. But he says this to his son. He says, "This above all, to thine own self be true." That's how he concludes the long speech, looking into the eyes of the father and feeling validated, feeling like Dad loves me and Dad wants the best for me. Dad trusts me. It's a look that we all want to give our parents, and to be betrayed after that is most cruel. He gives this wise, seemingly caring, trusting, fatherly advice, but then he turns around and he hires Ronaldo to spy on him in Paris. Why? Because he doesn't want him to be true to himself. The tyrant father wants to control the poor boy. That's how egregious it is. Your bait of falsehood takes this carp of truth. He's fishing for bad things about his son. If you go to Paris and you lie about my son, people will respond with, "Yeah, I did see your son doing these terrible things." And if you do that, if you lie around the campus and around the town about my son, then yes, thus do we, by indirectly, we can find his true behavior out. And so, by my formal lecture and advice, you shall find out my son. Doesn't trust him at all. Doesn't trust him. Wants to dig up dirty gossip on his own son. It's awful, absolutely awful. You have me, have you not? Do you see how sinister it is? And he's even paying Ronaldo to do it. Absolutely disgusting. His behavior towards his daughter is no better, perhaps worse. Again, he professes to have her best interests at heart, the same pattern here. And he says, when things start to get messy with Hamlet, Polonius says, "I am sorry that with better heed and judgment I had not quoted Hamlet. I have not looked at him more carefully. I gave you the advice to shun Hamlet, and that made him crazy, do you see? So that's my mistake. I feared he did mess around with you. He did trifle with you and meant to rack thee. I tried to protect you, do you see? Oh, but damn my jealousy, do you see? I regret. I'm sorry, daughter," is what he's saying. But he denies her right to self-will. He bolsters his own ego and reputation at her expense by violating her privacy and dignity and the most intimate self and experience by reading those love letters, do you see, to the court, treating her like a child. She's ashamed of herself here, exposed. He bragged. Here he expressed regret, you see, for the mistake he made. But in front of the court, he can't by any means be wrong, because he's that kind of pompous ass, do you see? So he says to the king, all puffed up, he says, "This letter in obedience," look at the word obedience, "hath my daughter shown me, and more above, even more than just showing me the letter, hath his solicitings as they fell out by time, by means, by place. She catalogued for me a record of her experiences with Hamlet." Do you see how crass and crude and disgusting that is? All given to mine ear, do you see? My ear. My, me, mine, my, and mine. That's that language that reveals the egoism. They're gushing and gushing this praise for the king and how important the king is.